I skipped my sister's wedding. Not because I forgot, not because I was sick. I made a choice, eyes wide open, and I chose our father, the man she'd spent 15 years trying to erase from both our lives. And the thing is, I'd do it again. So yeah, am I the worst person alive, or does any of this make sense? Okay, so background. My name is Kara. My sister is Danny. We're 3 years apart, grew up in the same house with the same parents, and somehow came out of it with completely different versions of what happened there. Our dad, Ray, left when I was 11 and Danny was 14. He didn't just quietly disappear, there was a whole thing. An affair, then another one, some money that went somewhere it shouldn't have, and a year of screaming fights that I still hear sometimes when a house gets too quiet. Danny took it hard, really hard. She was older, she understood more of it, and she made a decision somewhere around age 16 that Ray was dead to her. Not figuratively. She stopped saying his name. If someone brought him up at a family dinner, she'd just go silent and leave the table. That was the rule. Ray didn't exist. For a long time, I followed that rule too because I was younger, because I loved my sister, and because honestly, I was angry at him too. But then I turned 23 and he reached out. Not with excuses, not with a big dramatic apology letter, just a text that said he was sick, he was in the city, and he understood if I never wanted to talk to him. And I don't know why, but something in me just couldn't leave it there. We started meeting for coffee. Nothing huge, just talking. He was different, or maybe I was, and I found myself actually wanting to know him. I never told Danny. And that was mistake number one. So Danny gets engaged to her partner, Marco, and it's genuinely beautiful. They've been together 6 years. He's wonderful. She's happy. I was thrilled for her. She asked me to be her maid of honor, and I said yes immediately. This was 8 months before the wedding. About 4 months out, Ray called me. He'd been sick for a while, I knew that, but it had gotten worse. He was looking at surgery, and the recovery window was going to be long and uncertain. The surgery date the doctors gave him. 2 days before Danny's wedding. I didn't say anything to Danny right away. I kept telling myself it would work out, that I'd figure out how to be in two places at once, that maybe the surgery would get rescheduled. It didn't. About 6 weeks before the wedding, I sat down with Danny and I told her everything, the coffees, the phone calls, the fact that Ray was sick, and that his surgery was that Friday. I want to be clear, I didn't tell her to hurt her. I told her because she deserved to know before the seating chart was finalized, not after. She was quiet for a really long time. Then she said very calmly, "So you've been lying to me for 2 years." And I said, "I wasn't lying, I didn't think it was my place to tell you he'd reached out." She said, "You made a whole relationship with him and you didn't think I'd want to know?" And that, okay, that one landed. I didn't have a clean answer for that. She asked me straight out, "If his surgery is Friday and he's in recovery Saturday, are you coming to my wedding?" And I hesitated. I know I hesitated. I said, "Danny, he might be in surgery alone, and if something goes wrong," she cut me off. She said, "He made his choices, Kara. I need you to make yours." I sat with that for 3 weeks. 3 weeks of phone calls, of Marco texting me privately saying, "Please just come," of my mom telling me not to pick a side. And then I made my decision. I stayed with Ray through surgery. I sat in that hospital waiting room in a hoodie while my sister walked down the aisle. I got updates from a cousin with the cake photos. Ray came through fine. And Danny has not spoken to me since. Here's the thing I keep getting stuck on. My best friend told me I had a choice and I chose wrong, that a surgery that went fine, a parent who had other friends and family there, was not more important than being the maid of honor at my only sister's wedding. That the maid of honor doesn't get to decide 2 weeks out that she's not coming. And she's not wrong. I know she's not wrong. Marco called me once about a month later. He wasn't cruel about it, but he said Danny cried in the car on the way to the reception. Not because she missed her dad, because she looked over and the spot next to her was empty where I was supposed to be. He said, she could have handled the Ray stuff eventually. Maybe, but you not being there, that's the thing she keeps coming back to. And I cried on the phone with him for 20 minutes because I knew that was true and I'd known it might be true, and I still made the call I made. The thing I can't shake is this. If Ray had died on that table, and I'd been standing at Danny's reception in a bridesmaid dress, I don't think I'd have ever forgiven myself. And I don't know how you weigh that. I don't know how you put a number on what if versus what actually happened. My mom says I need to apologize fully, no buts attached. My friend says Danny also needs to give me some room to have a relationship with my own father. And Danny says nothing, because Danny won't return my calls. It's been 4 months. I sent her a card for her birthday. She didn't acknowledge it. I don't know if she ever will. A few weeks ago, I ran into a cousin who was at the wedding. She didn't say anything mean, she just said quietly, "Danny kept it together really well." Like she was complimenting her. Like keeping it together was the whole goal of the day. And I thought about Danny in that car on the way to the reception, crying, and I felt sick. I also thought about Ray in that hospital bed asking me if I was sure I wanted to be there and me saying yes. And I don't know which one of those moments I'm supposed to regret. I keep thinking if it had been Danny in that hospital, if our roles were reversed, would she have come? And I genuinely, honestly do not know the answer to that. Maybe that's the whole problem. So I'm putting it out there. I skipped my sister's wedding to sit with our estranged, sick father while he went into surgery. He survived. She hasn't spoken to me in 4 months. Am I the problem here? Honestly, though, what would you have done? Comment below.